How's it hanging, YouTubes? Peter here, your Ginger Jody Geek. Welcome back to the channel for another top three. Ooh.
That was me. Sorry.
I thought that was a new segment.
That was a new segment starting. So we're back for another top three. And as ever, I'm joined by my good friends, James T. Keegan. How are you doing, James?
Ew.
Ew. Are you well?
All is good, mostly.
Yeah.
For one
Good
reason
man.
we'll talk about in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. And Efren, how are you?
What is going on, comic book familia? I'm here with my two favorite mates from the UK. I wouldn't want to be any other place than right here, right now.
Ireland's
good stuff.
technically not technically. Ireland isn't in the UK. Often just
But it is. It is.
kind of fought a whole war about it and everything. Like, I don't know if you know. You remember?
What do I know?
Yeah. Efren, I can't not notice the stunning T-shirt you're wearing. What?
Yeah, I got this from you. I got this idea from you guys because I keep on saying "dang it," and you guys said,
Never noticed.
"Huh?"
No.
I've never noticed. You see, dang it.
I think it was James who said I should get a T-shirt that says "dang it." So I finally decided to get one that says "dang it." So
I love it.
got to show it
I
off.
love it.
Yeah.
I need one. I'd be wearing it right now if I had one.
Yeah.
I'm wearing it every day.
Tremendous. Well, listen, guys, it's always nice to see you. Always enjoy your company. And tonight we're going to be doing our usual top three. So we're going to be talking about MCU Phase 1 movies, and we'll get to that in a second. If I can just quickly jump into the chat and say hello to whoever's joined with. So as usual, we've got our good friend, StreamYard. Thank you for joining. We've got good old Fuzzy back at it again. Fuzzy, we're never away, man. We've been on, I think, me and James were just saying, if we've been on 5 nights in a row, 6 nights in a row.
Fifth night now. Yeah.
Fifth night, because we recorded a quiz last night. So yeah, 5th night in a row. Crikey. And I'm doing another one tomorrow. And Wednesday. Bloody hell. Jack, we've got Jack. Nice to see you, Jack. We've got Martin from Sonic's Comics. Nice to see you, Sonic. Thank you very much for joining, mate. We've got Sean. Thank you very much for joining, Sean. GP, nice to see you, bud. And we're going to be talking about your show tomorrow. So that's going to be good fun. Fuzzy is giving it a dank seat. Efren, I think if you go to market these, you could flog a load of T-shirts.
Yeah.
GP, dang it, I need one. Yeah, everyone needs a dang it in their life. Okay, so tonight, guys, we are talking MCU Phase 1. We're going to touch on that in a little bit. But before we start, there's been some kind of breaking news tonight, which is quite upsetting. And that is that Ray Stevenson has very, very sadly passed away. So Ray Stevenson, obviously an incredible actor. I know him best from The Punisher and, of course, from the Mighty Thor movies, where he played Volstagg. Only 57 years old, I believe.
58.
So 58, is it? So tragic loss. We've not been told what he's died of or anything yet, obviously, but yeah, just a tragic loss. And myself and James actually saw him in the flesh just about, was it 6-7 weeks ago when we were at Star Wars Celebration?
Yeah, he was doing a panel for Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So me, you, and Ben, like we walked into the room and said, "Oh my God, there's Ray Stevenson," and we ran up as close as we could and watched this kind of talk there, and just like seemed like a really good soul. Like just he had an amazing charisma as an actor. Someone I always just liked seeing in things. And this is really shocking. Like I'm really heartbroken about this. So.
Yeah. And of course, he's going to be starring in Ahsoka. So I get, it sounds awful to say, but one of the only things that I think is nice is that he saw that absolute outpouring of love that he got when he was at Celebration. I mean, the place went wild, you know. So that's lovely that he saw the impact he was going to have. Shame he's not going to obviously see the response to the show, but I'm sure it's going to be phenomenal. So yeah, thoughts and prayers, obviously, with all of his families and his loved ones. Tragic loss at that age. Okay, guys. So we are going to be talking tonight about Marvel Phase 1, and that's going to cover Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, and the Avengers. So some really interesting movies there. I'm going to put you straight on the spot. If you had to pick one movie to keep and bin the rest, which one's it going to be? So which one of all of those are you going to keep? James, we'll come to you first.
Has to be Avengers, really, doesn't it? Yeah, I know. Like,
Yeah.
if that was the first movie in that series, it wouldn't have the same impact. Because it was an unprecedented thing at the time, something that was teased for 4 or 5 years at that point, and just the culmination of all of this was really incredible to see. Like something we had been talking about as comic book fans and movie fans for so long, like the idea of like Spider-Man being in the X-Men movie or this character being in that one, seeing on screen was really just an amazing experience. So I think like that is the best movie out of this lot. Some people probably say Iron Man, but I'd go with that first Avengers movie, because that'd be the one I'd keep.
Okay, interesting. How about you, Efren?
God, these are all tough choices, except for Iron Man 2. I just looking at this list, and I didn't even realize it until a couple of days ago that this movie was included in Phase 1. And I really liked the storyline, and I thought it was I'm glad they included it in it. So my choice would be The Incredible Hulk. I mean, I know Mark Ruffalo now is the Hulk, but Ed Norton's portrayal of the Hulk, I thought that was fantastic. And I really, just thinking about that movie right now, I really enjoyed it.
Okay, good pick, that, Efren. For me, and I think it's probably tied up with just the spectacle of seeing it and all the rest of it, it has to be Iron Man 1. That I can still remember the feeling as a comic geek of going to see that and seeing kind of, I wasn't a massive Iron Man fan at the time, to be honest, but just seeing it on screen, and the realization that Marvel and whoever are getting the casting so absolutely perfectly spot on with Robert Downey Jr. Just from the second you see him in the opening, in the Humvee and all that kind of jazz. I loved it. Just going to quickly jump into the chat here. Fuzzy, Iron Man, easy. I know Fuzzy's a huge Iron Man fan. Jack is saying Cap or Iron Man for me. I loved Captain America as well. I loved it.
Very wildly underrated. I think it's in the top 10 in the MCU, if not a bit higher here.
Yeah, and Fuzzy's right, kicked it all off properly in regards to Iron Man. Absolutely, man, absolutely. JP, you're banned. I loved the first Thor movie. I liked the pomp and the ceremony of it. How dare you? Really,
the Shakespearean elements of it. Like Kenneth Branagh is a good director. Before that, like he was a good choice, I think. I liked that part. It was the Earth stuff I wasn't crazy about in that movie, or just taking. But
if you look at that movie and compare it to Love and Thunder, do you know what I mean? It's night and day.
Yeah.
Sonic, Cap for me, yeah, it's a really cool one. Fuzzy, no. Iron Man 2 is your favorite, Sean. Wow.
I think an overly hated movie. I enjoyed it. I think it's a fun popcorn flick. It's that racetrack sequence is like one of the best sequences in the entire series. So yeah, I
don't think it's a bad movie. I just don't think it's the best out of this crop. But but I have to say, I've forgotten who's the actor who plays the arms dealer in it?
Justin Hammer, Sam Rockwell, and his little dance he does at the start. He's good. They have to bring him back at some point. He was so good. Yeah.
Keep Iron Man, Sean. No. Okay, so some very, very cool movies there. And Efren, I think you're right. Incredible Hulk is a very cool movie, and we'll touch on that probably in a little bit. And James, you mentioned kind of it accumulates in the Avengers. Pulling them all together, as it were, and we'll get kind of with probably one of the first kind of ensemble casts that I think we've had for a long time, and I think that movie is absolutely stunning. So, next tough question for you, and again for the chat as well: favorite Avenger. And Efren, will start with you this time.
Oh man, put me on the spot so quick. Oh my god, me and street level heroes, so I'm just gonna go for Hawkeye. I just like the character. Even the Silver, I'm thinking of my comic book history too. I've always liked his tough grittiness. He's got no superpowers whatsoever. Yeah. And he just puts himself out there to do what's for the best, for the world. So, I mean, as much as I love all the other characters, I really enjoy reading a Hawkeye series. I wish he was back in the Avengers more on regular comic books, but they've always
he's kind of disappeared, isn't he?
Yeah.
Connie, we're just asking who your favorite Avenger is. Sonic's Martin saying Cap. Yeah. GP, Cap. Okay. James, yourself?
Cap. Okay. They took the like Boy Scout character and just made him just incredibly relatable, and yeah, I think Chris Evans was like the best casting you could get for that. At the time, I remember not being crazy about it, but yeah, he really nailed it. It was perfect. I'm not crazy about his costume in this movie.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
It's a bit too colorful and a bit too, comic booky, I guess. But like, yeah, no, he's great. He's one of the best parts of the MCU, I think. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree. Fuzzy is saying Iron Man a cap, but do have a spot for Black Widow. Fuzzy, I think Black Widow has been superb in this movie series. I think the introduction in Iron Man 2 was tremendous. And then our opening scene in Avengers where she's being interrogated is just brilliant. I love it. Jack, Thor all day. Jack, I'm with you. Thor's my favorite Avenger in this lineup. I like his more serious kind of Shakespearean presentation. When we start going into comedy party Thor, that's when you start to lose us, I'm afraid. And then Cap quickly takes over. Excuse me. Okay, guys. So like I said, we're going to be focusing on phase 1. And we are going to do future shows of this where we'll look at phase 2, 3, and 4. It's interesting when we've been talking about these because I'm looking at all the different movies and I know there's more in the later phases and things like that. But I think I've struggled to pick a bad one in phase 1, whereas phase 2 and phase 3, it's much easier. I think phase 1 seemed to really cement the MCU, and certainly in terms of quality writing, I think it's probably some of the best. What do you think? Do you agree with that?
The excitement at the time as well. Like we didn't look for issues. We kind of went along with it, and we're just looking forward to the next thing. Whereas a bit of fatigue is set in at this stage, I think.
Yeah. Agree. What about you, Ephraim? What do you think?
I agree almost what James said exactly, especially one character. I'm not going to say who he is, but he's a god. I think he's overstayed his welcome.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Phase 2 is when the MCU peaked. Yeah, I mean, there are some very good movies in phase 2, Connie. I'm looking forward to talking about that one, to be honest.
Best movie of all time is in there.
Yeah.
I think you're probably right, James. I think you're probably right. Okay, guys. So, like I say, what we've said is in this, we're going to each pick our 3 favorite scenes, and then we're going to cover our least favorite scene as well. And that's quite interesting. We'll talk about that in a little while. Please do in the chat, keep chipping in with your favorite scenes and things like that. We've got some of them to show later on that you've already sent in, but please do let us know what you think of our selections. And Ephraim, we're going to kick off with you. Tell us about this.
This scene, to me, when I first saw it, I mean, they showed stills of it beforehand, but when I was at the cinema, this is Iron Man, the first Iron Man. To me, the minute I seen this scene, it's Iron Man's very first, costume, so to speak, or armor costume. It just brought me back to the original Iron Man book. I mean, I said, wow, they got it down so pat. And this is what really, I mean, I was so looking forward to seeing this movie. But this particular scene, when it came out the first time, I went, man, they did it right. I mean, just looking at this scene, I really enjoy it. And this is my first scene, the very first iteration of Iron Man.
Yeah, and I'll come to you in a second, James, to see what you think of this. But for me, there's always a fear as a comic nerd or a sci-fi nerd when they're kind of looking at your properties, your histories and stuff like that you think, how's that going to translate onto screen? And will the general moviegoers understand and get it? So I was nervous going into Iron Man thinking how they're going to make this look cool, and then you get that, and just off the bat you thought, actually, do you know what, this is friggin' amazing. This should look stupid, it should look daft, but it just looked so cool. James, what did you think, mate?
Yeah, I agree with both your points, but story wise, this is the table turning. He's been kind of treated so badly by these terrorists for months. Is it a year nearly? He's with them. This is the moment it all kind of comes together, and Yinsen's death, and he kind of does this to avenge him as well. Is that fantastic, and really the moment you're like, this is something special, I think, when you're watching this movie.
And the music choice, I mean, the music and all of, well, I think Marvel does amazing with all of its music choices, to be honest, in a lot of the films, but this is just it's just stunning. Connie, it looks so weird looking at a still of the scene low, but then the scene itself is excellent. Yeah.
Just that moment when he walks out and they're looking at him, and there's like a kind of a stillness for a
Yeah.
second, and the flamethrowers come on. Like it's great.
It's tremendous. Now, James, you also picked a scene from this movie.
Yes, the first Mark III, the him taking out the terrorists specifically, but there is like and I've listened to like John Favreau kind of talked in an interview about this, doing this scene, that the first time the repulsor blast is used, there's like a thunder crack that they put under it, like so that first one is like boom. And I remember watching this movie the first time, like oh shit, like, and the guy goes flying and he punches a guy and he flies up 2 stories, and it's just absolutely incredible. And you get to see a lot of the little gadgets, like the kind of wrist mounted rockets and the kind of bullets that come out of his shoulders when they take the hostages. It's just an absolutely incredible action scene. And I think this is probably my favorite, like, hero walks away from an explosion. They it's easy to make that cheesy. I think Wolverine Origins makes that cheesy, but this just felt really natural, and just an incredible powerful moment in the series.
And again, it's that moment when you realize that actually they can do it. It can look incredibly cool. I'm grinning here because it's that I keep forgetting how long these movies have been out and how long it is since I watched some of the first ones. Do you know what I mean? I can't remember the last time I watched Iron Man 1, but I really kind of feel like I need to go back and revisit it because I love this scene. Efren, how about you?
I love this scene because his armor, it just looks so freaking real. I go like straight out of a comic book. I went, oh my God. Just my ideas, the first armor when he was in the cave, and this one, I went, man, they got this down pat. I mean, I'm glad that they kept it true, like to the comic books, the way he looks. And you could tell that's Iron Man right off the bat. Yeah.
Stunning. And you're right. In terms of the special effects is just outstanding in this movie. Absolutely outstanding.
That's a fair point, Jack. I stand corrected.
Yeah, Jack, that's a good point. And apparently part of that was a mistake, wasn't it? Because it didn't go off.
The button thing was improvised because they just didn't blow up at the time. So it's just an amazing thing they caught on the fly.
Connie, I watched Iron Man 1 during the pandemic, but that had been the first rewatch since I saw it in the cinema, and I haven't watched it since, but I agree, it's making me want to put it on. Yeah, me too, Connie, me too. Now, my pick, I get a lot of grief from some of our colleagues for being, a bit of a Boy Scout and a bit, I like that, I do like your characters, like your Wolverines and stuff like that, and your dirtier characters, but I like a noble character. I like someone who's got morals and all the rest of it. And this scene for me just encapsulated everything I love about Captain America. And it's the scene where, Tommy Lee Jones is trying to prove that he's a wimp and a weakling. And he chucks the grenade down and everybody else scatters. And Steve Rogers, this scrawny little guy, jumps on the grenade to save his colleagues. And for me, that tells you everything you need to know about the character of Captain America and what he stands for. I just loved it. I just thought it was so beautifully done. And again, masterful performance by Tommy Lee Jones when he just looks so pissed off that he's kind of done this, So yeah, I love that. I loved Captain America 1, and I know we're going to touch on it again a little bit later on. But and I thought again, the effects of him as a scrawny kid were pretty damn good.
Absolutely. We've seen this done worse since this movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's bizarre. What do you think of this scene, James?
I love it. It absolutely just shows you, who he is at his core. There's a line in Avengers where Tony Stark says everything special about you came out of a bottle, and this just proves that wrong completely. That absolutely. he's a hero in his heart, no matter how physically strong he is.
Yeah. My missus does that. What about you, Efren? What do you think of this scene?
I agree. This is a very good scene. He was Captain America before he was actually Captain America, if you understand what I'm saying. Before he had any powers, it was just inside of him to be Captain America, and these powers just brought him out, his full potential.
And again, I don't think we've got it in this, but that iconic line that he uses, I think 3 or 4 times throughout the franchise, that I can do this all day.
Yeah.
When he stand up to the bullies and things like that, I love this. Connie's saying it gets to the core of Steve very well. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, guys, back to you, Efren. Another cap scene.
Oh my God, I love this scene. I looked at it again after I chose my after I chose this. This is right after Dr. Eckstein, if I'm pronouncing his name right, got killed, and he just became Captain America, and his powers just came into fruition. And he's kind of clumsy about it. He crashes into the window.
Yeah.
But then, this whole scene, but then he's jumping on top of the cars. And I was like, oh my God, I love this scene. That's why I picked it. You're just looking at Captain America at his full potential. He's just going for it without caring about himself, basically. He just wants to get the bad guy. And this is the persona of Captain America.
Absolutely. James, what do you think?
Oh, stellar. Just the first Captain America action sequence, and it's a fantastic one. And shows like Efren said, him not being used to being in such a big body. Like, I love the way he crashes through the window, and there's a moment where he gets shot at and he picks up a car door, and it's like a little bit of foreshadowing. I thought that was great, even has a star on it and everything. And you can feel like the kind of anger in him, at this assassin for shooting Erskine. Yeah, I mean, excellent. And just Chris Evans.
He's a buff, isn't he? He's a big.
When that door opens and he's there, it's like, that can't be a real person. Like, that's insane. Fair play to him.
When Peggy touches his chest and she pulls away from him, so funny. What am I doing?
And Fuzzy's saying there, it's a great Peggy scene. Peggy, I don't think I'm a massive Peggy Carter fan. She doesn't get enough love, I think. And actually, the Agent Carter TV series is superb as well. I hope that wasn't the only Captain Carter we're going to get from Hayley Atwell in Multiverse of Madness. I'm hoping she's going to come back in Secret Wars in some shape or form. She deserves it, I think.
Well, we get What If season 2. I think she'd probably be in that.
Yeah. But I want a live action, James. GP Venom here saying the scene where we first see Red Skull is his favorite. I love the interpretation of Red Skull. I love it when he's shifting his mask around his eye and you can see the skull underneath. Very, very cool. Very cool. And Jack's just saying there, I love it when he holds the trash can lid up. Yeah, very cool. Connie, Peggy Carter is my least favorite character in the MCU, so I hope it was the last. How dare you, Connie? How dare you? Connie, you're upsetting lots of people, man, with your cinema comments, and then it's criminal I haven't used them all yet. Fuzzy's in agreement as well. But okay,
that's part of the tragedy of her is she's stuck in the 40s,
Yeah.
So I suppose that's kind of in keeping with the message of that movie. And
I mean, we're not talking later phases here, but Endgame, that is one of the most heart-wrenchingly beautiful scenes where it ends with Cap and Peggy just dancing in this.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Perfect ending.
I mean, that that killed me. Listen, they made her an amazing character in Agent Carter. They did, Connie. She was. Oh, that's a good word. And then decanonized it. By hell. I loved Agent Carter. I thought Agent Carter was cool. Good show. Okay, James. More Cap.
Yeah. This is like the cheesy 50s action montage. This piece of like imagery was what really sold me on this character in the trailer. I remember seeing this, him just bursting through the door and shooting the guys. This is like incredible. There's like just an absurdly large tank that he blows up. He just jumps up. I remember in the cinema seeing this, and my friend went to the toilet right before it started. And he got back right as it ended. And I was like, dude, you literally just missed like solid action, awesome action sequences. It's just cool. Like, obviously kind of a call back to the kind of movies of the era as well, with the tone of it and the music and everything. But you just see Cap just cutting loose. It's great.
I absolutely love the scene, and I think I would watch a film of Cap set in World War II. Do you know what I mean? With this kind of stuff going on, I love that. And one of the things I really like about this particular scene is when we talk about Boy Scout kind of characters and things like that. You've never got to forget that Captain America is a soldier first, so he will use a gun. He will kill the enemy. Do you know what I mean? He's not like Superman, in where Superman kind of will do anything but kill. Captain America is a soldier first and foremost, Yeah.
Well, I mean, they all kill, really. Like, Iron Man kills God knows how many people in that first movie, and Captain America killing here, Thor, other species, I'm sure. But nobody talks about it. And then in DC, it's the biggest deal in the world when one of them kills someone.
Yeah. Efren, what do you think of this scene?
I love this scene one because Captain America's in it, but also they included the Howling Commandos in this movie. I'm just really dumbed up, on the rest. But I noticed when I was first watching this movie when it first came out, they didn't have Nick Fury, and I know why, because people would have got too confused. With the Nick Fury here and the Nick Fury that's in the present time.
Yeah, because Nick Fury's got some weird chemical, isn't he? So he doesn't age. I can't remember what it's called, but he's got some kind of. It's a bit like super soldier serum. Can't remember what it's called. Let us know in the chat, any comic geeks, if you know what it is that keeps Nick Fury from aging.
Fuzzy to the rescue.
Yeah, Fuzzy, I'm sure. Amazing scene, James. Superb pick. I love that little montage. I think it's just tremendous. My pick. I'd waited years to see this. Years. A proper Hulk versus Thor fight, and this doesn't disappoint. I think it's one of the best fight scenes in the MCU, and I love. It's exactly how I pictured it in my head. In that Thor, because he's a Viking warrior and he likes to fight and all the rest of it, he's loving it. Do you know what I mean? He's you can see him smiling that he's actually got a chance to cut loose. I just think that it was a really cool scene. Everything I needed, everything I wanted. What about you, James? You like this one?
Love it. Everything we'd seen of Hulk up to this point was like, he's unstoppable. And here we are, Thor's that kind of immovable object that he comes up against. It's incredible to see in the way he calls his hammer and starts smashing through all the ships, and he catches it and hits them. It's awesome. Like Hulk is a terrifying monster. Even within this movie, I think the scene just preceding this is him chasing Black Widow.
Touch on that in a little bit because it's he's scary.
So this is just great to see somebody like actually manage to knock him down a peg.
Efren, yourself?
Oh, I love it. I mean, it makes me want to watch the movies all over again.
I know. I'm thinking that.
I completely forgot about this scene. And there's another scene that I just thought of. I'm not going to mention it because one of you might have picked it, but if not, I'm going to mention it at the end. But just the first time Hulk and Thor fought, I was like, oh my God, I'm reading a comic book. And that's what made me so happy about seeing these movies.
And Jack's spot on there. I completely forgot about that. The Thor and Captain Iron Man fighting in the forest is stunning. And when Thor's hammer Mjolnir hits Cap's shield and you get that vibration, it's just And I forget sometimes. I was going to say I forget sometimes how funny Iron Man is. That doth mother know you're wearing a drapes and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's just it's phenomenal. Okay, we're back at you, Efren. Now, just to previse that this was also Ben, who was going to be on the show but couldn't make it tonight. Ben picked this scene as well because it's another amazing scene. So Efren, take it away.
So this to me is straight out of the comic books. The way they drew the Destroyer, the character just looked so authentic, and I just love this scene. I mean, it was in the very first Thor movie, and then the Warriors 3 and Sif also helped out in this. So I just love the way this whole scene, this whole segment went along. Just the power, of this creature, from Asgard, and it's just like, oh my God, this is such a good scene. So that's why I picked this scene.
Just before moving on, James, Simon, you're absolutely right, mate. The and we'll talk about it in a little bit, but the kind of the horror of the Hulk and the viciousness, that's the Hulk I want. I haven't got an interest in Professor Hulk, Smart Hulk.
Because like Hulk and Banner are two different characters, so you've effectively robbed us of one of them for since he's become Smart Hulk.
James, what do you think of this scene?
I mean, it's Thor proving himself worthy. It's fantastic. It's
Absolutely.
I think for the 100% the best scene in this movie. Absolutely.
Oh no, it's not. Oh no, it's not. Nah, not having that. The best scene in this. I mean, I love the scene. Don't get us wrong. And you're right, James. I got my little chubby excitement face on when he's proven worthy. And you see Mjolnir hit him, then his armor comes on.
The lightning,
phenomenal. No, the best scene in this movie for me is Anthony Hopkins rollicking, in the observatory, telling him he's a spoilt child and you're unworthy.
You're undeserving.
I mean, that is just superb acting. And that's one of my loves for this Thor movie compared to the later dog shit. is that it feels like it's got weight to it. Do you know what I mean? You've got world-class actors like Anthony Hopkins monologuing like that, and I felt every word of it, you know.
Yeah, and I think this movie maintains a good sense of like this, another, and he smashes the cup, but it doesn't undercut those serious scenes that we get. Like there's not a little a modern MCU movie would have had a little joke in that Anthony Hopkins bit, like one of the boys retorts or something, but it's played straight, and I think it should have been, because that's the tone of that.
Lovely, great scene, Efren. One of my favorites as well. And you bang on, mate. The design of the destroyer is spot on.
Yeah, just the way the faceplate comes down and the fire, you see it swell up to behind the armor. It's great.
It's very cool. James.
Oh, I forgot I had this because I mentioned this earlier. This is like the Tony Cap kind of exchange in the first Avengers movie. Just fantastic. Just like seeing these two characters kind of like, this is the moment in the movie where the kind of group is falling apart. Effectively, because they're not really a team yet. But like they have this exchange. And I think when you look later in the series, particularly when you look back at this moment, it has kind of an irony to it. So like, big man in a suit of armor, take that off. What are you? You're not the type of guy to lay on the wire. And Iron Man is, the guy who sacrificed himself at the very end of this. And then his retort is like, everything that's special about you came out of a battle, but he's worthy to lift Thor's hammer. So I think it was an incredible exchange at the time, but I think especially with the legacy of this franchise, looking back at this one, it has kind of an extra meaning to it.
And I love Tony's kind of response where he's like, what is it, billionaire philanthropist?
And then Black Widow does a little like, oh, yeah, he's right. Like, it's great.
Fuzzy, I've got my eyes on that, mate. I've seen it. It looks stunning. I'm probably going to pick that up. Efren, what about yourself? Do you like this exchange?
Yeah, I like this scene. That's a good choice, James, because we all want to see fight scenes. But then we forget that there's great dialogue in these movies too. And they were sitting down and just chewing it out, just getting mad at each other, trying to figure out who they really were. I think this is like the origin of their friendship.
And you have like Thor sitting back and just kind of enjoying actually humans squabbling, and Banner's kind of being influenced by this stone as well. It's just a fantastic kind of.
You guys remember that scene? I don't know if anybody picked it. If they did, I apologize. When Iron Man was prodding Hulk to see what would happen.
Trying to make him angry. Very cool. I love this scene. I think it's great. So, Efren, you mentioned the want of big battles and things like that, and I think it's criminal that this next movie sometimes gets forgotten about, because it's got one of the best battle scenes I think going. And that's the Incredible Hulk in the end scene. I mean, first off, we get one of my favorite comic book scenes, which is where they push Bruce Banner out the helicopter. And he hits the deck as Bruce Banner, and then the Hulk kind of emerges. I think that, I think the special effects on the Hulk in this are superb. I love the dark and gritty, kind of dirty look to him. I think the Abomination was superb. I love the actor that plays the Abomination anyway. Tim, I think he's just amazing. But this movie's got some really, really cool points in, and I think it gets forgotten about. The bit in the park, where they've got the Stark Sonic kind of cannons.
So good.
All that kind of stuff. You got some great hints at future cast. Liv Tyler, who's going to be in Captain America, I believe. We've got the leader coming back from this movie. I can't remember that actor's name.
Tim Blake Nelson.
Blake Nelson. But also, and I'm hoping we'll get him back, we've got the guy from Modern Family who was Doc Samson.
Samson.
Ty Burrell.
Yeah,
I think that's his
Simpkins. I can't remember his last. It's Ty something anyway, but he's great.
Ty Burrell.
Right. So I mean, overall, I love this movie. I think it's often forgotten as being part of the franchise because of the issues with the lead actor and whatnot. But I think this battle scene is amazing. And there's the bit where he's wearing the two cars, I think, isn't he?
So that's pulled from Hulk Ultimate Destruction, the video game. It's like a move in that where you can grab a car and rip it in half, and you make two matte gloves out of it, basically.
Stunning.
But great stuff. Is that all you got? Great callback in the movie, and just incredible, the destruction, the way they kind of just lay waste to the city. Yeah, it was good to see, because like the last Hulk movie really disappointed. Like I saw that really young, and I was kind of just getting into superhero stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, Hulk, I'll try Hulk, and I didn't like it at all. So this was the first Hulk thing that really got me into that character.
It was shocking, that first Hulk movie.
Yeah.
For me, it was Ang Lee trying to do, I mean, even down to, the trying to do the comic book scene where the things blow up downstairs or whatever, and like panels it, and the man.
I think that's an interesting concept that movie just doesn't do very well, or just does too much, like to make it look like a comic book. But yeah, just like as a kid, I hated, like it was the first time I watched a superhero movie and didn't become obsessed with that character.
But so dark in terms of, palette, that you cannot really see what's happening a lot of the time. And then they take one of the best villains, because I mean that's kind of who he's playing, and turn the absorbing man into his dad. But then the end makes no sense. He basically falls in water, and I don't know. I can't even tell you what happens really.
And for a time, this movie was sort of a sequel to that. Like they were like iffy on whether that movie was like actually, if this was actually a continuation of that or not. Like they wouldn't specify, Connie's just saying she hasn't seen a Hulk movie in years, and you haven't seen the first. I wouldn't bother with the first Hulk movie, Connie. It's not the best. But this one, The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton, is well worth a watch.
Yep.
Give it a watch, Connie, and then let me know what you think, because it's I think a lot of people are saying it's kind of a forgotten movie in the MCU.
Yeah, gem.
And Edward Norton was very good as Banner. He played Banner well, I think.
I was really sad. I think like having had Ruffalo for so long, I've really attached myself to that portrayal of the character. But I loved Ed Norton. I was good at the time when he dropped out of Avengers.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, guys, so that's the end of our picks. We did ask for some comments, and we've got a load of them put through. So, Original Big Dave, my friend from work, saying Avengers 1, the image of them all coming together. Absolutely, that's now an iconic scene that I think is being copied in lots and lots of different. I mean, most movies now, the T movies, get the iconic scene where they all form up or some kind like that. And that was also one of Ben's picks. Yeah, an amazing pick. I love it. Fuzzy, Iron Man end scene. Oh God, Fuzzy. I remember that, watching that in the cinema and just being totally taken back at it, because it's not what I expected. Do you know what I mean? You expected him to hide away,
my bodyguard,
and burger, and yeah, great scene. Phil, Iron Man 2 F1 scene, Tony putting on the suitcase suit. Yeah, that was very special. I loved that, actually. That was really cool. Luke was put Hulk fighting Abomination. Yeah, I'm with you, mate. And Kev put this, and I agree with him. When Hulk chases Nat in the Avengers, I always thought it showed how truly terrifying the Hulk can be. And I completely agree with him. And Hulk should be terrifying. And we've kind of lost that, I think, as we mentioned,
That's played like a horror movie, and you have bits in The Incredible Hulk is played like a horror movie as well. So it's great to see.
And that's the Hulk I prefer. Ben also picked this, the Star Spangled Man bit, and I love that. I love seeing Cap in his original costume.
I wanted that. Yeah, that song. That gets stuck in my head at least once a week to this day.
There's one scene that if we picked four, now that I'm thinking about it, there's just one scene that said this is such a good movie. It's Avengers, when Hulk and Thor, after they went through their battle and they're just standing there resting. Hulk just punches him out.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
I forgot about that.
Or Hulk picking up Loki and just slamming him on the ground.
Yeah,
that's unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, a few of the guys in the chat had mentioned that scene with Hulk chinning Loki. So yeah, a few people are saying they liked Ed Norton as Banner. Awesome movie, just a shame about the way the Abomination looks. Yeah, that didn't mind it too much. I don't mind it that much. Fuzzy, Ang Lee's made some tremendous films as well. He has, just didn't work particularly well for the Hulk. Ian, when the Hulk smashes Loki, puny god.
That line. Yeah, that was great.
yeah, and that line from Tony Stark, we have a Hulk, is tremendous as well. So that's the best scenes we've talked about. We're going to now just quickly touch on what we think are the worst scenes, and this has been really interesting. So I put the question up on Instagram, and I got, like you say, a fair few people thrown in the favorite scenes. You guys have obviously easily come up with 3 scenes. Ben sent with 3 scenes in, so it was very easy for people to find the favorite scene. I asked the same question of worst scene, and I got one response. And then I know from talking to you guys, we've really, really struggled to find negatives. And I think that's a testament to these movies, to how good they are, that actually it's so hard to thanks for joining, Bud. It's so hard to actually think of something that we didn't like in the MCU phase one.
Like, I think there's issues in a lot of the movies overall. Like, you know, you can point out, oh, this is like an overarching problem with that movie. But like to pick a specific scene and say this is a bad scene, there isn't really any in phase one, like, or any that jumped to my mind anyway. Maybe a couple of like forgettable ones, which is why I don't remember them.
Yeah.
But I'd have to rewatch the movies to clock that.
Yeah. So like I say, well, like James is saying, we've struggled, the three of us, to kind of come up with stuff we want to be negative about. Mine and James is on nitpicks, but Efren, you've kind of identified a character you don't like.
Yeah.
This guy.
I mean, I enjoyed Iron Man 2, and it was okay. You know, of all the movies, it was the least one that I did enjoy, though. It was just a portrayal of this character. Whiplash, it was like a combination. This is not the way Whiplash looks in the comic books. And just the actor's portrayal. I forgot the actor's name. I apologize. Mickey Rourke. I think he wasn't really acting. I think this is the way he is. Like, to me, at least, I just didn't like this character at all, man. It wasn't, to me, it's just like a true villain. And I don't know. I think it's just his costume what bugged me. It wasn't really a costume.
Do you prefer this look, or do you like the big kind of armored look that he has at the end? And just to say that when Ben was going to be on the show, Ben also picked the end scene, the big kind of armored look of Whiplash.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember how that looked like anymore. It's been such, I've only seen this movie once, but overall, it's just this actor's portrayal. I mean, Ricky Rourke, I've seen him in good movies, but this to me was a little bit over the top, you know. So, that's right.
James, what do you think of that?
I love him. I love how over the top he is. You know, I've want my buds. You know, it's great. Like it's zany over the top, and I would get like if you think it's too much at this stage of this universe that they've created, like it's leaned a bit too, it's jumped too far ahead maybe. But I think it's just a really fun villain. Like he's not, I wouldn't list him in among the best, like, but I enjoy him. I enjoy the performance. I think he's good. I'm not a fan of him just being another Iron Man at the end of it. I think that's a bit of a cop out. Like I like this design a bit, and I think if you lean to just another suit, like maybe it's like speeds him up or something instead of just another flying.
I think you've hit it on the head there for me, James. I think if we'd had this kind of look, which is similar to the comic version kind of thing, you know, with the whips, I would have been happy with that. I didn't need an Iron Man. And you're right, it kind of leans into the whole issue. You get it in the Flash TV show, and you get it in the Venom movies, that they have almost, the villains have to have the same power set.
Yeah.
And it spoils it for me. I mean, I guess you could argue Hulk versus Abomination is very similar in some ways.
100%. Captain America, like the Red Skull has the same.
Super
like,
soldier. Yeah. So interesting choice, Efren. I quite liked him in this. I can't remember loving him, but I can't remember hating him either. Sonic is just saying here he preferred him in Sin City. Oh, I love Sin City. That's a very good film. Very good film. Fuzzy, I don't actually think the F1 scenes were as great as others do. I think they're a bit computer game-ish. Yeah. I think it was just nice to see the suit up scene realized from comic to screen, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
it's a shame they gave that away in the trailers. I think that would have been an amazing moment in the
and this is
the cinema.
This is probably a good debate for a show in the future. I'm starting to really try and restrict myself from looking at trailers now, because I'm sick of how much they give away. You know, there's literally no surprises anymore in movies.
For like smaller movies now, I just don't want like that. I went to see Sisu last week. I just didn't watch a trailer for it. I was like, I want to go in blind. It's actually quite nice to like just be completely surprised. I don't know if this is a horror, an action, or what. Like,
James, your pick.
So, I really struggled to pick a specific scene I don't like. Now, I think this scene, this is the end of. Most people think this is a post-credit scene. It's actually just the ending of the movie of Incredible Hulk. I think, like at the time, this was like mind blowing. Like to have the main character from another movie be in this like movie was just incredible, so unexpected. You know, and then another allusion to Avengers. You know, this is really happening. You know, it's like momentous at the time. But like in retrospect, this scene doesn't make any sense, and they've even had to. I remember they had to do like a short film to kind of retcon this because it didn't make any sense. Because if you go into Iron Man 2, he's like not on the team. It's like they just stopped talking about Avengers.
Yeah.
So this scene in the like short, it's explained that he's actually talking about Blonsky, and it's like to make General Ross not want to release Blonsky because Tony Stark wants him. So it's like sort of, it's like the first example of like a tease that went nowhere in a way, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm grasping at straws for this, but I think
I don't even remember it, if I'm honest. I know I've seen it, but it just didn't register. How about you, Efren? Was this something that you remember at the time?
I don't remember until right now when James mentioned it, but to me, I mean, this scene, I go, oh my God, this is, to me, it was like, this is the beginning when they're going to put the Avengers together somewhere down the line. So that's why I liked it.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, the only thing I thought about, oh my God, they're talking about the Avengers. When is this going to happen? You know, so that's why I enjoyed this scene.
Okay. In the chat, guys, let us know if you've got any scenes that you think weren't good in phase 1, because I'm struggling. So my scene, guys, it's not a bad scene. It just doesn't make sense to us. And it's this scene at the end of Avengers where the Hulk's whole thing is, don't make him angry. You wouldn't like him when he's angry. If he gets angry, he turns into the Hulk. Yeah. So if you wind him up, he becomes the Hulk. And then Captain America basically says, go and hit the big space snake thing. And says, oh, we're going to have to make you angry or something. And Bruce says, that's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry. And he turns into the Hulk just on point. That doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't know if I just don't get it or what. Or what's it trying to say? That Bruce Banner is always choosing to become the Hulk? Or what does it mean? Someone tell us?
I think you just don't get it, Peter.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Explain it to us, James. Explain it to us.
Well, he's always angry. I mean, it's just written right there.
So why is he not always the Hulk?
Because he controls it. I'm only messing. It's a cool line, like, you know, and it's a cool moment in the movie. You're like, fuck yeah, but I know, like, when you sit and think about it, it doesn't make much sense because, like, yeah, he doesn't have control over it. We've seen that multiple times in both his own movie and this movie. So I guess he can. Like it's again, it's a cool line, but he can transform at will. He just can't like resist transforming at a point. You know what I mean? He can choose to turn into him, but he can't choose not to turn into him. I think is sort of the idea.
Was he saying he's learned to control it now?
Well, he hasn't. In the next one,
the next one he can as well.
Yeah.
Efren, what do you think?
Peter, I just think you're overthinking it. I love this scene. The minute he says, that's my secret, Cap, I'm always angry. When he turns around and he becomes the Hulk and then he punches that creature, you know, that spaceship, I go, oh my God, this is so awesome. You know, I know we're nitpicking, but it's hard to pick a bad scene. But to me, it's like, oh my God, this is great. You know, just the way the transition from human to Hulk looks so freaking real. I'm going to see this scene again after we're done.
And
it is a great scene. Fantastic scene.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when he punches it in the I'm not like I said, it was really hard to think of anything. It was just that line never really struck us as making sense.
I see your criticism. I agree with you, but like I don't care. These are dumb.
Yeah.
You know?
How dare you? How dare you? Sonic Comics, I wasn't a fan of the stage show part of Cap. Oh mate, it's one of my best bits.
Who will campaign door to door for America?
I've personally punched out Hitler 56 times.
You guys mentioned it before, but I really miss Angry Hulk. You know, I just don't like the way he's, you know, Dr. Banner type Hulk. I don't think he's as powerful. You know, he's not a force of nature like he was before. You know,
I
would love to agree.
Also, like he's gotten smaller.
Yes,
he looks worse. Like, it just doesn't look as convincing anymore because he's on.
He doesn't look scary anymore, does he?
No. I would love to have seen Angry Hulk fight Thanos with no thinking about it. You know, because if you know Dr. Banner, when he gets hurt, he feels it. And I'm sure, like any other person, would say, "Oh my God, I'm getting hit," and it's too much, and would recoil. But Angry Hulk, he would just go for it. You know,
just like a core part of the character that they're just ignoring at the moment. It's sort of a shame.
Bizarre. Jackson, the only bad thing to think of is Jane Foster, Natalie Portman, shocking acting.
I don't agree with that. I think she's good in those movies. Or just not bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't warm to her. I have to say, out of all of the kind of the
Well, I just like Natalie Portman from
Star
V
Wars.
for Vendetta and Star Wars.
Oh,
And,
she's superb in V for Vendetta.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're coming to the end now. So thank you very much. That was really interesting. We've covered our favourite and least favourite sections of Phase 1. So we will be doing Phase 2, 3, and we'll keep doing these in future dates. And I think it's going to get meaty because we're films. I don't think it's going to be as hard to find bad points in some of the future movies. So that's going to be interesting. Just quickly looking at what we're going to be doing next on Top 3. I thought we've never done comedies. So I thought we could do top 3 comedies and pick the favorite funny movies.
Wow.
So we'll do that next. That'll be interesting. Tuesday night at 8 o'clock over on GP Venom's channel, we have got The Immortal Hulk Volume 1. Please do go back and have a read of that. I've started rereading it. All I'm going to say is the review we're doing tomorrow includes Avengers, the kind of first appearance, I think, of Immortal Hulk, and it's dog shit. But then Immortal Hulk itself kicks off and is very, very good. So yeah, that's going to be a real interesting show tomorrow. So that's over on GP Venom's channel at 8 o'clock. On Wednesday, I've got my next episode of This Is My, and I'm going to be meeting Hydra Collectibles. So Luke has got some incredible things to show off. He sent us some imagery already of some of the stuff. So we're going to be talking all things geeky, 8 o'clock on Wednesday. Saturday night, I'm guesting on Only Slabs. What are you laughing at?
You're busy.
I'm so busy, you know. So Saturday night, I'm going to be guesting on Only Slabs over on Rob's channel. So I'm really looking forward to that. So that's only over on Rob's Fat Stacks, where basically I'm going to be showing off about 30 books in my collection.
Wow.
And I'm hoping that a book that I've got coming from America will be here by then. So looking forward to that. Directly after that, at 9 o'clock, we'll move straight on to Saturday Night Live. We'll do the usual kinds of stuff. I promise it'll not be 2.5 hours, but that's also the show where I'm going to be giving away some cards. So I've been gifted these DC cards by Hero and by Zavi, and we're going to give away a load of packs of those. So make sure you tune in to hopefully win some free cards. No show Thursday and Friday. I'm having a few days off, mate. Yeah, but at the moment, I mean, it depends. Might do a toy show Friday. Anyway,
and I might have my Star Wars thing on Thursdays.
All right.
Maybe.
So that's Saturday night, and then next Monday. Oh, it's not. Where is it? Oh, I haven't got it. Next Monday, we've got Let's Talk Toys, where myself, James, Luke, and Simon give you all the gaming, toy, and action figure news. So that's next Monday. Shout out to the usual YouTube community. We've got This Week in Metropolis on a Tuesday night. We've got the Nerd Herd on a Wednesday. I will be finished on Wednesday for the Nerd Herd before they go live at 9:30. Killer Comic Show this Thursday. The boys are back, so make sure you tune in to watch them because they are also going to be giving away some cards because they've been gifted some cards as well. So that should be fun. And then on I might be on the Killer Comic Show, you know. Anyway, I'm not sure. Saturday night, we've got Grey Man doing his Cover Slingers show. So please do check that out. James, what's coming up on your channel?
I have my usual shorts. So I've been putting up some Star Wars stuff lately because I've been in a big Star Wars mood. And then I am doing a Jedi Survivor story breakdown, possibly a Visions review thrown in there as well. Either this week or next week. If it's next week, it's Tuesday. If it's this week, it's Thursday. So I locked on a date for that.
Good stuff. And how about yourself, Efren?
Actually, we just did a video right before this. Peter and I, his turn is going to be on his channel. We picked books for advanced orders. These are coming out in July. And one book we are looking forward to be reading next week, which is March 31st, I believe. I mean, May 31st. And I knew we were both going to pick this book, and this is probably the only time we would pick the same book. So really forward to reading this book. And I'm going to try to go live because Peter goes on live so much on his channel. I'm going to try to go live on my own channel, hopefully this week or next week, but it's going to be at my time, like about 8 p.m. So you guys will be asleep, but that's okay. Yeah, if I wasn't retired, I would never be on your channel, Peter, because it's like 2 o'clock over here. I'm working. I can't, Peter.
Yeah.
But whatever I think about doing shorts, and I love, and I talked to Peter before this, doing remote live shots when I'm at a convention. We did one a couple of days ago with Chris Claremont. If you have a chance, check it out. It's on Peter's channel. It was very funny. It was only like a 2-minute clip, but it was very funny.
It was great fun, everyone, and we really do appreciate you doing that, mate. It's superb. We also did, the Sprite challenge, which was interesting as well.
Too.
So yeah, check that out. Okay, thank you very much, chaps. Always love spending time with you, and always appreciate you the effort you've put in. So thank you for that. Thank you to the chat. The chat's been buzzing tonight. Really enjoyed everybody jumping in and throwing their opinions in. So give some thought to the next one, which is comedy movies. Interested to know your thoughts on comedy. So that's going to be fun as well. Might try and see if I can throw some clips up as well, so I don't get copyright strikes. Okay. And with that, we'll call it a night. So thank you very much, everybody, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.
Bye.